Let me quickly take you to KwaZulu-Natal now, where my colleague Dasen Thathiah is in conversation with the police minister.
He's arrested, thanks God. He couldn't find the bail today until the 18th of July when he appears. I think it's because of the long list of his criminal records. He was sentenced to 7 years in 2013. I wish he would not be out of the prison by now. Even the one that we are sorting out, we know the name. We know almost a proper identification of him. Him too has got a long list of criminal records. Even the deceased one has got a long list of criminal records. Up to this point, we have those three that are directly linked with the case of young Sadia.
Are you going to commit to a deadline on this arrest?
Well, I have been given the time of finding the outstanding guy. The hours that we are working on around these days is 72 hours.
Okay, so that's a commitment to find this guy in the next 72 hours. One of the other problems here is, apart from the operational issues and the issue of resources and all of these things that we've been hearing, there's this other problem that's come up, which is the issue of race relations in the community. That's one issue. And the other is the disconnect between police and the community. But that's not something that's easy to fix. So how then do you go about doing that? Because it's not as easy as throwing vehicles at a station or employing more officers. This is a social issue. And it's not just here in Chatsworth. You see this kind of disconnect in other communities as well. Where do you start?
Well, I didn't sense much of a disconnect here from this meeting. I will appreciate that people were angry the way that you were at the station yourself until very late the other day. But I feel that anger has come down and everybody has cooled off and everybody is very putting a lot of sense on the matter. For the fact that the CPF, Community Policing Forum of the station, receives a lot of awards, including the commitment that the MEC and myself have made here, which means there is a better connection between the police and the community. Otherwise, the CPF should not be receiving all these awards that are happening here. And secondly, almost everybody that spoke here said, Tumamina, I'm here, I'm a part of the solution, we'll work with the police. They even raise issues on behalf of the police, your vehicles, their training and all that. The only thing that they insisted must happen, that there must be an investigation what happened on that particular night. But it's a relationship that had a hiccup on that night. But generally for me, and I guess for all this community, is a correct and the right relationship. For the fact that the officers even attended the funeral of the young one, it tells you that it was the anger that everybody has come together and done with it and working going forward.
I noticed there was a lot of focus on visible policing here. That was a call from the community. It was also what you focused on during your address. But there was one gentleman, I think, that raised the issue of crime intelligence. And this also now reminds me of that other report over these crime intelligence officials that had records. Do we know of those 27 that have been reported on? Do we know what those serious crimes were, those 7 criminal records that were relating to serious crime?
As you said, the only 7 that would be serious. 22 of them are traffic offences. Well, it remains a crime record nonetheless, but there are traffic offences. I can't remember that all, but there are 2 of the assault. There are 1 of theft out of 7. And I can't remember the others, but those 7 would be mostly the assault. I think the theft, the drinking and driving is one of them, or 2 of them. So those are the cases that make those 27 crime intelligence officers.
And crime intelligence is obviously the most crucial part of policing because it's preventing something almost before it happens. How are you fixing that? How are you fixing crime intelligence and also cleaning it up at the same time?
Well, all components of the police are very important. I agree. It's more, as the Constitution demands, that you prevent, you combat, you investigate. So all these must be linked and be done properly to make sure that we reverse and we push back all criminals. With crime intelligence, there's been a problem where they didn't have a head for almost 6 to 7 years. And you know now that a permanent head, General Jacobs, has been employed. He comes from the same environment from Western Cape, which is one area that I guess has been trained properly. So he's in the headquarters now. But beyond that, maybe let me say this, because it came as if I was just being naughty to visit the crime intelligence 2 days back, I guess 2 days back. But it's not only the crime intelligence headquarters I visited. I visited them, I spoke with them what is expected of them. I visited detectives, I visited hawks, I visited special units of the South African Police, trying to re-engineer ourselves, re-find ourselves which direction should we take, and making sure that we combat crime, we prevent crime, we investigate and keep South Africans safe.
Just lastly, while we're talking broadly about issues of crime, the issue of the Soweto station commander, there was also a deadline there. What has come of that investigation and those arrests that were supposed to follow?
The issue is complicated a little bit. As we announced, you know why it is complicated. But we know the person, the person responsible for the murder. We know the people. Actually, there were 2 people there. There are 4 of those people that were there to pull the trigger. Others were on the surveillance and all that kind of stuff. So allow us on that one to make an announcement, but everything has been put on the table. Having said that, I wouldn't have done my work if I wouldn't pass my condolences as the member of the South African Police and the head of the South African Police to the community here, but mostly to the family that we visited and we saw. We hope and we wish they hold better than what we have seen. They are really paining, especially the father, and the mother is also paining, but for me was more stronger than the father. We hope that the support that is around them from the family, friends continues, but all of us, we support them. They really had a bad and a painful time.
And lastly, if I heard you correctly, you said you'll be back in this community to engage with them once more?
Oh, yes. Well, definitely. The issues that they raised could not have been responded here in this particular meeting. They wanted 7 days. We requested 14 days. In that 14 days, we would have come back here and deal with the issues together with the communities, try to find answers.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's Police Minister Bheki Cele in conversation with my colleague Dasen Thathiah out there in Chatsworth.